As a hairstylist, I've had my hair every color of the rainbow. And at one point in my singles ward, I had bright blue hair. And my calling was ward missionary. And our ward mission leader had been working with a young man who hadn't been to church in over 10 years. He stopped going when he was a youth, and basically nobody in his home ward had heard from him since. And our ward mission leader went and convinced him to come to church. And the way that he said, okay, I'm going to make sure that you have somebody to sit by. He said, sit next to Sarah. She has blue hair. And that's just a descriptor. But at that time, I was not worthy to take the sacrament. I was not able to take the sacrament at the time. And this young man comes and sits next to me. He's like, hey, Tanner told me to sit next to you. And I said, oh, perfect. Sit down. And sacrament comes around and he passes the sacrament tray expecting me to take it. And I had to decline. I'm not saying at all that that was the moment for him or whatever, but I can't help but wonder how comforting that must have been for someone who was returning to know that somebody else in the ward was also struggling too.
Yeah.
That young man has gone on a mission now. That young man I think he held executive secretary at one point in our ward. I saw an entire transformation in him. And then additionally, a couple of years ago, so I have a nose piercing. It's not in right now because I'm lazy, but I had a nose piercing when I lived in DC. And I'm sitting at state conference. And at the time I had bright red hair with my nose piercing in. And a girl, tattoos, gauges, very, very goth, comes and says, oh my gosh, I'm so glad someone like me is here. And sat next to me at state conference. And I don't consider myself goth or alternative at all. That's not my vibe or anything. But if that means that crowd wants to sit with me, then they can sit with me. If that means that somebody feels like, oh, maybe I do belong here, then great. I'll keep my nose piercing in forever. I'll throw the red back in my hair immediately if that's what that means, so that people don't feel like they have to fit this Mormon mold or, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, and the Seagull book clothing. If you want to wear bright colors to church, you can. Pastel is not in the dress code, So it's one of those things that I would rather outwardly show struggle or show that I'm breaking a mold to make people feel like